Jason here, host of the BombCast, along with some incredible guests, Michael Park, Patrick McDavid, sitting here in my office, coming at you at a different time than we normally do on a Friday afternoon. We wanted to create some variance because we know not everyone can join us always on a Thursday. And we thought, you know what? Why not go live on a Friday afternoon? And as I check in, it looks like several of you guys are joining, so welcome. Today, what we're going to be talking about is several products that we have released here at BombBomb within the last few months, and then some products that are coming out. Many of you might have joined us on a webinar that happened on Wednesday. If you missed that webinar, don't worry. We'll add it into the comments here so you can check that out later. But really, we wanted to bring in two of the key people that made all of these products come to life. Michael, our VP of Product, Patrick, our CTO, and give you guys access to some of the stories, the happenings, the reasons why of what's going on. So if you will, make sure you drop a comment, a question in below. I'll be monitoring that. Before I go on any longer, Patrick, why don't you kick us off and just briefly tell us about some of your history here at BombBomb. How long have you been here? And besides the fancy title of CTO, what do you do day in and day out?
I've been at BombBomb for 7.5 years or so. When I got here, there's a much different, tinier company. It's been nuts to watch it grow. So I'm a software developer by trade, and I came in here and have been slapping together products until Michael showed up and made me go slower and more carefully and make them look more beautiful. So, I'm just an engineer that's now has a big team of engineers that are making the products that we're all excited to talk about today.
Awesome. All right. And Michael, tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been here at BombBomb?
January will be 4 years. Came from a very different background, initially in home decor. Got involved with a great opportunity to customize and use software to customize home decor. BombBomb came as an opportunity, and so we've been here for about 4 years building the product team.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to jump right in to things. Let's talk about the first product that we're releasing, which is called Reactions. Do you want to kind of tee us up a little bit of the story behind Reactions, Michael, and then Patrick, do you want to tell us a little what Reactions is and how it actually will kind of work for people?
So we had I think this year has been a new thought year on a couple of product decisions. The first is, as you can see, as you've heard in our core values, things like work where you work, speed to video, engagement at scale are some of our core competencies. One of the product objectives this year we've spent a lot of time focused in on our customer, our user, of course. But early in the year, a series of kind of conferences and kind of some internal discussions, we started to ask the question, do we do the best service of our user by way of the recipient of the video email? And it was the genesis of thought in order to extend our view beyond just, we would call him our user, you might call him your customer, but into your customer's customer. And so a genesis of an idea was created, and we got to work after a conference in San Francisco where we started to say, Patrick and I thought we had some unidentified space on the landing page where you view the video. Especially in a surface like Gmail, you don't use a custom branded email design. Those can have a tendency just to be almost exclusively white. So we started to, around its wrapper. So we started to investigate what functionality could we bring to the space that would help our user recipient communicate in a very fast way back to them that there's been engagement. Of course.
Yeah, like, viewers often would watch the video and then want to respond. They have to hit back and go back to their email client and then hit an email reply, and that worked very well. So we wanted to find a balance between not stealing that workflow from them, because a lot of people use that, but then also providing newer, easier, maybe lighter ways to talk back to who's sending videos.
So we, Patrick and I very much, when we can, we try to build, and then we build the car, and then if we can, and we like to iterate fast. And so what you're seeing in reactions is a stable first, skateboard approach to the technology. We have in our product roadmap what the bike and what the car and what the rocket ship will be in our minds. But this is just our first pass at an easy way to like. We decided to follow the conventions of what a social network would have with a like and a comment field, the pill. So it's a familiar space, and so the user's recipient is not relearning a workflow, but it's a familiar workflow to the major social networks that are out there. So we just started with that to begin, and we've put, now we're at like 80, 90,000 pieces of email through it, and collecting data and iterating on which of those functionalities is good, needs to be enhanced, needs to be improved. We're already in the way on a round B and starting to shortly here test a solution B to that has a little bit more visual dominance and things like that. And there'll be some more functionalities to come, but we can't tell all of our trade secrets here.
It's been awesome. The likes are just flying back. So our customers have been telling us that they love to see that these little hearts are showing up in their inbox. So, which
I'm curious for everyone that's watching, that is using BombBomb. Have you guys had an experience with reactions yet? Have you sent out an email and gotten that little woohoo email that someone liked your video? Or has it sparked a conversation or a reaction? Drop a comment in. This has been live now for about a month. This is actually something that's just brand new that we've been doing, and it's something that goes out for any of our users whenever you send out that one-to-one message. Again, we're thinking about other ways that we can include it to other feature sets, but drop a comment in if you're using reactions. But yeah, we've been hearing a lot of stories about how it's increasing replies, which is one of those things that's really important, that someone just watches your video but they don't do anything with it, now that they can quickly and easily reply in there. So Andy just dropped a comment in saying he's had some great experiences with it, and that's been working, so that's awesome. So great. So for the sake of time, we're going to keep moving on. I want to talk about a big one, and that's Gmail. So we've had Gmail as a product for a long time. This isn't necessarily something that's new, but
2014, I think.
Yeah, so almost 4 years we've been playing in the Gmail Chrome space in some way, shape, or form. But tell us a little bit about some of the things that are coming up within Gmail, or new things that we're doing. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I think primarily we're working on more interactivity with your tracking. So when you are seeing people interact with your email, you have more tools to be able to find the original message and send videos more quickly from that tracking feed.
So it's so everyone, the tracking feed, if you're a Gmail user, it sits on the right-hand side. Is that live? Are we in beta? Where are we at on that one?
I believe, coming out next week. We've got a beta that's been running for a few weeks, and it's looking great. So I think we're going to start rolling that out next.
So next week, you're going to get this new tracking feed, new activities that you can do out of that tracking feed. Andy just said that it's always nice to see that people are opening his emails. Now you're going to be able to take better actions on that information happening inside of Gmail.
And explore the thread more. If it's a longer thread, you get to see all of that in one place now. So it's more condensed and easier to navigate.
We're also counting now with a parenthetical thought next to the play or next to the open, how many times that was played. That was displayed in the old kind of presentation, but it required a hover, where now it's a very quick skim in the activity feed that doesn't require any mouse over. You can see that's clearly played 3 times. That was open 2 times.
And one thing you may have noticed is if you have something that's been forwarded or gotten into an email chain, the interactions with that, like the views, will stick that thing to the top of your tracking feed, because every time someone touches it, it's the new priority at the top, right? But you didn't really get that sense of how exciting it is for people. And so now when you see that 15, 20, 38 people have interacted or viewed this thing, you're like, oh man, this got forwarded around the office. That's exciting. Yeah. That's a great new feature.
We in the change, some of the feedback in the early beta was, it was a good device in the old style that you would see an open, click, and a play, so you can kind of do a quick skim across. And so in our new presentation, we did lose that, but we did include now what we're calling in the triple dot menu. You can click now what we're calling the track, and you can see under that subject line exclusively a kind of zoomed in view of the entire history of events in that particular. So it's even clearer. You can see individual plays and clicks and link clicks all in one. So as you're refining your videos and seeing, is this effective, was this not effective, you don't lose that. So we're trying just to blend the best of all worlds. Like Patrick said, you can now see events as they happen at the top with a count, as well have the advanced move if you want to drill in and see what has happened in the history of this particular subject line in activities. So I think it's a best of all worlds.
Yeah, that's good. Andy had a question about workarounds with group emails going into social or promotion folders. Do you want to speak at all to that? Kind of, you're sending out a BombBomb, sending to a group of people, and it lands in one of those folders.
Yeah. I mean, people fret about that more than they should, essentially. The intention of folders like that, especially in Google's Gmail product, is to categorize what you're looking at. And so when mail is sent to a large group and it's one or another kind of sort of mass message, it really is appropriate for it to appear there. So I hear what you're saying. You want to be in the primary inbox, and we want you to be there when it's appropriate as well. But it's essentially, it's the right thing for the users, right? Yep. And you generally do not have that particular problem when you do send a one-to-one video to people. There's a lot of deep science around how mail gets categorized by these inboxes like that. That is really well thought out and helps users sift through what ends up being hundreds of email messages a day or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I would ask you to maybe question whether that is if it's more appropriate than you think it might be, essentially. And if you really want to be in the top of the inbox for someone, you should send them a one-to-one video, really crafted for them.
Yeah. So just to clarify too on that, Andy, if you want, when you send through BombBomb, we do it as a one-to-one message. It will land in that primary because of the way that we handle that sending. But when you are sending a group message, there is no workaround. It's supposed to end up in those folders. And ultimately, that's a call Gmail's making to help people understand what's happening in their inbox in a more meaningful way. And so, if you have other questions on that, we actually have some great stuff on our support site that you can check in there and get a little bit deeper understanding of what's happening there. So let's give a little love to the other big inbox that's out there, Outlook. We've built a pretty incredible integration with what you can be doing in Outlook. What are some of the new things that are happening there? Some stuff that we're excited about with Outlook.
I got a great demonstration today of our screen recorder showing up in Outlook, and it works like a charm. So that's going to be a huge deal for folks that want to do demonstrations of on-screen documents or anything like that. So it was so slick. One button thing pops up. You can do that switching between the full screen face shot and the desktop as you need it. It's great. I think that's coming next week too.
Yeah. Awesome. So screen recording in Outlook. I'm curious, how many of you guys are using screen recording? When we hosted this webinar on Wednesday, we were talking about things that were released a long time ago, and we kind of blew over them. And then we were shocked at how many people were like, wait a minute, you can do that? I had no idea. And screen recording is one of those. It's kind of our best kept secret right now, which it shouldn't be because it's an incredible way to be using video and highlighting the thing. So just drop a comment in if you're using screen recording. And then for anyone that's using Outlook, that's something you guys will be seeing coming to you very shortly in the near future to be able to do that as well. Let's talk about a little bit more on the technology side of things and get into a little bit of kind of our video tech. I know we put a big investment in there over the last 6 months or so and made some really big improvements. You want to speak a little bit to what we're doing and how we're handling people's videos when we're encoding them and loading them up and then getting them sent out.
Video is one of the more challenging things you can do on the internet, essentially, right? Videos are always going to be big. By their nature, they have a lot of information in them. Audio, video, and resolution is growing all the time. 4K is a thing we think about and work on, right? And so you end up moving megabytes per minute across the internet. And on a great connection in your office, that's usually not a problem. We can move high definition video without too much of a challenge. But when you're on the go, on your cell phone, you're going through tunnels and you're switching cell towers, it gets much more challenging to make sure that videos are reliably getting to the server, right? And it's worth pointing out for just a moment that there's sort of two major steps you have to do when you're moving videos up into the cloud. You have to send the bytes up the pipe through your cellular connection or whatever, and then those bytes need to be prepared to be distributed to any old client that's going to want to watch them, right? So you have to upload them, and then we have to mix up a couple of versions of them to show to Androids like one flavor, desktops like a different flavor, but we got to cut a couple of versions of these things. So this new technology that we've been putting in place this summer really combines both of those activities into one concurrent stream. So as the bytes are flowing off of your cell phone or whatever, they are getting handed into our encoders in a way that essentially does all the work in parallel at the same time, so that when you are done hitting recording, Those bytes finish flowing up in a few seconds or whatever, depending on your network connection. Sometimes we have to wait for that to go. But then as soon as those bytes are on the server, we've already done all the work to get it ready. So other companies are doing that, but we've got a few techniques that really tighten that timeline down so that as soon as you are done hitting record and you get back to your email composer or whatever and you hit send, it's ready to go immediately. So, some other products can't do that as fast, and you end up waiting longer to see a spinning wheel kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And we really embedded some cool stuff in the last 2 years to make that really excellent, and we got a patent approved in the last month or two for that. So we've got some really neat technology that's making it really industry leading.
So love it. Love I think that's probably something a lot of people don't think about, right? When
we want it to be invisible. We don't want you to have to think about it.
Right. And when you think about people watching video or people watching this live stream, everything that goes into making video available for people, there's so much technology that's behind it. But Michael, at the end of the day, you want to speak to a little bit about kind of what this means to our customers. Like what can they expect? How is this going to be a benefit to them?
Well, I mean, this is like I was just thinking when you're saying this is a core competency of 3 is speed to video. I agree with Patrick. I hope they don't see it. I hope they expect it. I hope they go try out our competitors and go, wow, this is slow. That means we've done our job. Speed to video is not just a technical encoding play, which it certainly is a large percentage, and a lot of our best and brightest are working on it. But also speed to video is a matter of the workspace that you're in and that it's working as expected. So our customers can expect, I think the best application is phones pose a problem because you're jumping through different either Wi-Fi networks or cellular networks. We have right outside of Denver, when we go skiing, any of us go skiing, we go through what's called the Eisenhower Tunnel. It's this massive tunnel if you've ever been out in Denver. And so we really...
3/4 of a mile underground.
3/4 of a mile. Like and so we always, though it's the exaggerated version, we always say, how will this handle in the Eisenhower Tunnel when there's no connection? So this is a way that what a user can, and how we are thinking about our users. They get maybe halfway through, there is no connection, but we even have to handle that well. So we can continue to ingest the video, regain when you come on the other side of Breckenridge for ski resort, catch the signal, and then continue to do that graciously where you are not in. It's not your problem that you're going through the Eisen. It's our problem, and that's what our users should expect is we think this way, that you should just be able to send your video, let us hold on to that, and then throw that back up and make that happen so you can move on and do some more business.
What's unique about kind of the way that we're handling video that might be different than the way that like maybe other social networks might handle video, or things that are just kind of more complicated when it comes to video email versus like a 15-second video clip that I'm posting on Instagram?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram are going to be delivering those videos essentially in an application that they control, right? Like you're 90% of the time going to be watching Instagram videos on Insta on a phone that they control, which means that they sort of don't have to be as adaptive to how it is displayed in the end because they can control that experience. When you're sending video through email and it's going to be played in sort of non-application context, you have to be ready to do video business wherever you end up being. So we have to be a little more dynamic and responsive to different kinds of conditions that videos are going to be played in a way that apps don't suffer as much.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting the fact that the way that we ingest video through a lot of different types of platforms, right? I mean, we're ingesting video through web cameras, through mobile devices, through integration partners, through a DSLR that you record and then you're uploading. Like pretty much we're video agnostic. If you can get a video recorded, it can work on our platform where you don't have to play in the space of an app or whatever. I think that's also interesting and a complexity that we're always trying to figure out. And
our most common use case, right, is that cell phone video essentially. That's 90% of our videos come up through cell phones. But this a lot of folks do the kind of things that this team is doing, video production and uploading of large, high quality 1080 videos and that kind of thing, right? And so one of these things that this new video tech can handle that is really revolutionary and one of a kind is the idea that same bytes coming to the server as it's being uploaded thing, we can essentially get a huge 1080 video that's uploaded from a browser essentially, ready in that same 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane.
Regardless of its size, which is something that really isn't being done in the industry. We do have this parallelization methodology that allows us to do that very, very quickly, regardless of the resolution or length of the video, which is nuts. So we had our chief marketing officer was uploading one of these larger videos of a couple of months ago, and he was sort of convinced that it was broken because it was ready immediately. But right, you remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, totally. But no, it's working exactly as intended. So that's awesome for folks that want to do higher quality work and still be able to use that speed.
Yep. Absolutely. I think it's one of the things for anyone that's watching that, you may not always realize that you can upload videos right into BombBomb. If you're a real estate agent, you had that listing presentation video and you did all that awesome drone work and you got that video done. That's something that can live inside of BombBomb and will upload so much faster than if you were to upload it to YouTube or Facebook, and the quality is going to stay consistent. It isn't going to be degraded in any way, shape, or form.
And let it be known, these little things shoot some very
high quality,
large filed videos nowadays.
4K 60 frames.
Yeah.
It is, just because it's small, so we have to handle that on your behalf.
We need more drones around the office.
Yeah,
we need to work on my drone budget.
Yeah, we need some more drones flying around.
Yeah.
There's a few. I've seen a few flying around and crashing at times. All right, let's talk about our last one. Maybe one of the most revolutionary product releases we've ever had, and it is soon to be
video for fax machines.
It's brand new technology.
It is. It's hard. You think that's
Yes. No.
It's black and white.
Black and white.
You're gonna love it.
Yes, and it's all pixelated.
But we got it to move on the paper.
Right. This Harry Potter style.
Yes.
We brought that. All right, so let's talk about Inbox. This has been a project that really you kind of pioneered. This is a bit of your vision, Patrick, and it started almost a year ago.
More than that,
A year and a half ago. Tell us a little bit about just the initial vision that you had for an Inbox product for BombBomb.
It was, I think of our like Christmas party 2013 or something, when an old friend of mine, Brian McGuire, we had this concept to start doing video in Gmail. And the way that we have to do that, because video is sort of harder and is not generally supported by things like Gmail, we essentially have to inject ourselves into your Gmail experience. And my old friend Brian is one of the best hackers I know. So we brought him on to go and do that work, and it proved out to be wonderful. So 6 or 8 months later, we had this first passive video recording experience in Gmail, and it was awesome. That really was the product that I started using all the time. Having video available in Gmail allowed me to use it for recruiting and all sorts of things that our original product wasn't as exciting for me. And so I just wanted to take that on the go with me, right? I wanted to be able to respond to emails. Like I get a lot of LinkedIn requests and stuff like that, and I love being able to hit reply on my desktop with a video, and it works great. I can do this excitement stuff. But we didn't have that quite on the phones yet. And so a couple of years ago I started making noise about it. I think we need to do this Inbox product essentially. Now the real challenge of the Inbox product for us is that what took us a year and change to build it was really just building the email client part of it. Like that is hard work, and the standards for email clients are extreme. People are in their inbox for almost a half hour a day or something like that on average, dealing with hundreds of mails that they don't that they have to go fast with. And so for us to build an inbox that was comparable to what Gmail and Apple have, goodness knows how much of a budget to deal with, was a tall order for us. So we spent a lot of time and a very talented development teams, essentially 2018, building an inbox and using some of the video technology we already had. Yeah. So what we have today is, I'm an Apple guy. I stopped using Apple's inbox app back in like May and started using ours full time. And for a while I had to, switch back to the Apple thing to do attachments or to do this or that or the other thing. But for the last 2 or 3 months, it's the mail app I use on the go. Yeah. And being able to hit reply with video on the emails I want to wherever I am is awesome.
So Michael, talk about it from like kind of a product standpoint. Building out this inbox, what were some of the challenges or what were some of the things that you really kind of had to overcome?
Yeah, so as in any good like business marriage, we fiercely debate and fiercely disagree, and it's what makes us great. And I was not a big supporter, not because I loved it from a products perspective. I loved the on the go, of course, for our primary cohort of salespeople who are in their cars or waiting for a listing appointment. It made sense. That's where they're doing business. They're in between appointments. It had all of the persona use case that was fantastic for the experience. I had the support. where I was just literally for a year, Patrick had to bother me and poke me, is because of what he said so perfectly. There is such muscle memory in these inboxes that users use that the moment we slip up or we stumble, it's going to be like, this doesn't work, even though we have great video encoding technology, we provide tracking, things that you can't get in Apple or Gmail's inbox, just tracking or snippets, okay? We are the premier business inbox that we're launching. We're certainly the first video business inbox in the world that's going to be launched.
Well, and we were talking about this earlier today. It's really one of the first kind of business inboxes, right?
Yeah.
With a salesperson or someone that's running a business in mind.
That's right.
All the other inboxes that are out there are really consumer focused and how you're handling your consumer mail.
It's an elite club. Salesforce has one that's comparable with the tracking, but there's not a lot of other ones.
But the idea of video, the idea of snippets, right? And for everyone that's watching that doesn't use snippets, that's pre-written out text with videos. You just select the email that you want and you send it out, saving you a ton of time. All these different functions are really unique and new for us. So tell us a little bit about what people can expect in their use of this. Like, what do you guys envision? As we think about personas, or we think about customers, and how is it going to benefit them? What are some of the things that really come to mind?
Let me go through a couple workflows that we used. We tried to when in our core competency where we work where you do, we try in any business, we try to insert ourselves at the moment we become relevant. The opposite of this is creating a workflow that, there is a sending mail workflow. There's a muscle memory in that. And so if we create what Patrick and I think is a better workflow, even if it is better, it's still not in the best service of the customer because they have to relearn something that they shouldn't have to relearn. So the use case was always if we could mirror these great platforms. And at the moment of blinking cursor when you're composing, and this is the most simplest form, at the moment of blinking cursor, BombBomb lightly presents itself with the touch of the record button. Then that's it, because it's basically, I want to put this video, record me here in this email, and send, was really the start of it. And of course, the use cases from on-the-go recording between listing appointments, and you want to get a quicker response than sitting with the thumbs. Think about that. So that's a use case between appointments. My favorite is with snippets. The use case was in line at Starbucks, and a standard request from a client comes in, and you don't want to be that person in line. You go over to snippets, you hit your pre-canned text and/or your pre-canned text and video for an instant. So if you're an LO, if you're a loan officer, and you're answering that same question, go over to snippets right at that moment of blinking cursor at the compose window. Insert that snippet and send within what? Seconds, and then send. And then so it's just that to take the tempo for business in a mobile inbox, to take that tempo much faster up. And some of the use cases that we kind of agonized around.
It was all about context for me. Like the app that's in the world today is essentially a quick sending kind of a thing where you have to bring an email address to bear on the app to be able to send, and you don't want people to have to deal with email addresses per se. You just want them to hit reply or to type in Jane's name or something like that. And so the inbox provides this awesome context into provides us context into their life, right? Since all the contacts are there, they can type in the name they want, or they can just hit reply, and that thread exists on their desktop when they get back to Gmail there, just like they would expect it to. It's perfect. It's very close to what I think we should be doing.
That's awesome. Well, we're here at the bottom of the hour. Team, if you guys want to drop in the comments the webinar link to be able to have everybody go and watch the webinar, we get more into the actual product itself and how you can be using it. We had both Ethan and Steve on.
It was awesome.
Hosting that webinar earlier this week. And really, we wanted to give everyone, our BombCast audience, kind of an insider's perspective as to kind of what was going on with these products and the minds behind them, letting you guys kind of see what's happening here at BombBomb. So thank you guys for joining us, for being here. Thank you, Michael and Patrick, for stopping by, coming in and being on the BombCast. We appreciate you guys. And everyone, we will see you guys next week. We will be back on our normal schedule on Thursdays at noon, live here on Facebook. We'll see you guys then.